Hello, I'm Jerry Blumengarten, also known as Cyberman One. I want to talk to you today about one of the most important attributes that every teacher should possess, and that is showing that you really and truly care about your students. Now, I taught in the East New York section of Brooklyn, which had the distinction of being the homicide capital of New York City. We averaged over 120 murders in a 5 square mile area. Our school was air conditioned, though, with bullet holes. It was a very dangerous situation, but I felt it was so important because kids are very perceptive. They know right away if you truly care about them. So I would start out telling them about myself, what my interests were. I was a voracious reader. I was a constant learner. And then I asked them about themselves by having them fill out an interest survey. I wanted to find out their passions, their skills, their abilities. For example, when I first set up a classroom, I would do a superficial job, go through the list of the students' abilities and use their artistic talents, arts and crafts ability to do the bulletin boards in my classroom and to do the hall bulletin boards, which we were required to do. I would stand at my classroom door every day and give a personal message to the students as they walked into the classroom. For example, nice job on your homework. Or, oh, you were absent yesterday, feeling better? Oh, nice grade on the last quiz. Because I wanted them to get that personal message from me. And I also did something else. I said, look, I'm not trying to be nosy. I don't know what's going on in your lives. I'm not a mind reader. If you have anything in your experiences or maybe it's a loss of life, maybe you overslept, or maybe had a babysit or some other thing, I should know this. Either tell me before class or pass me a note. And this became very helpful because students would pass notes that so-and-so is going to have a fight today. Can you be aware of it? And I wanted them to know that I cared about them and I was there for them to help them and support them. And I had situations where they would come in and say, oh, so-and-so was shot. And we had a classmate one day who died as a result of a bullet wound. Once again, I was in a very high crime area and this happened and we lost a student. So I just stopped what we're doing and we reminisced about that student. We talked about him and I'd get them to share their feelings and whatnot. And then I brought in a guidance counselor and a social worker to also talk to the class. But this was such a common occurrence in our dangerous situation. But be there for your students, listen to them, look at their body language. I think that's very important. In fact, one time, in 32 years, only 2 professional development sessions I felt were worthwhile. The first one is when they gave us Polaroid cameras and film, and they had us break it to groups and see how we can use these cameras. The second one was after we led the city on assaults on teachers, and the camera crews were outside our school, the principal brought in an expert and showed us how we should communicate, nonverbal and verbal communication with the students, how we should stand, how we should act to avoid confrontations. And years later at a ed camp in Philadelphia, Paul Bogish from Connecticut, did a great session on nonverbal communication. It's so important. And it's hard now because of the COVID violence and you're teaching virtually to see what your students' body language is and their anxiety, and they have high levels of anxiety. So be there for your students, find out their interests, work on them, give them a chance to exhibit their skills and ability. Maybe they have a talent in music. We use this for a Martin Luther King Assembly program. Assistant principal came running up to me and says, Jerry, you got to do the assembly program. I got my students to act, to sing, to dance. You should have seen that auditorium when they sang We Shall Overcome. It was an amazing experience. But be there for your students. Watch their body language. Show an interest in them. Thank you.